Hi, friends. Welcome back to another Pick a Card Tarot reading with me, JP. This is Junodrome Tarot. I'm super excited to have you back here. I took the week off. Sorry if you were waiting on a video, but I have this one for you now today. So sometimes we just need to take space, and that's just what happens in life. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, friends. So this is going to be a reading on what do you need to hear right now? What are some special, important incoming messages from the universe itself? What does the universe want you to know in this moment? Your guides, your angels, the benevolent beings in other dimensions who are only here to help and love and be our friends. Whatever you want to conceive of it, it's up to you. But anyway, those are who I listen to. I don't really like to go to anybody else at this point, but I also don't judge. You talk to whoever you want. But this reading is going to be about that stuff. What do you need to hear right now? We have 4 different piles. Pile number 1 with this daisy. Pile number 2 with the fireflies. Pile number 3 with the binoculars. And pile number 4 with the mountain there. So yeah, we're going to cut right into it. So please go down to the description section right now and choose your reading, 1 through 4, and I will meet you in the reading. Thank you so much for tuning in, friends, and so glad to have you with me in my life. See you soon. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So, this is going to be your reading for what does the universe want you to hear right now? What do you need to hear? What are the super important incoming messages from the universe that need to come to you in this moment? We have the pile here. You chose the one with the sunflower here. And I'm doing this kind of side vertical format. So, you know me, I like to switch up the formats. So I hope you like it. I don't know. So yeah, with this daisy here, there is a message on the back. Why don't we read it now? It'll probably mean more at the end, but I'll read it now anyway. It says, "Rise with the sun." Wow. Oh, that's so special. Okay, so so there's some really important sunshine messages here, with this daisy. So let's take a look at the cards, and we'll pull that back in here in a bit. So we've got a whole bunch of cards from just 2 decks today, 2 tarot decks, and then 1 oracle card. First up, we have a chunk of cards from the what is this one? Wild Unknown Tarot. Really beautiful design. I think because we have a whole bunch of them, I'm going to do this in sections. We'll do the first 2 first. So the first 2 cards you have are the 9 of Cups and the Hanged Man, and I don't read reversals just because I feel like they get in the way of the general readings. Sometimes if it feels really important that they need to be talked about, I'll put them in, but most of the time I don't. So, this is a really interesting dichotomy. Maybe it isn't, right? I think there's it seems like you're in an interesting period right now, because with this Hanged Man energy, I think maybe you feel like you're stuck right now. I think maybe you feel like things aren't moving forward in a way that's really challenging in your own mind, but I think maybe this is a part of it is just a perspective thing. Because with the 9 of Cups here, the 9 of Cups represents a certain sense of emotional satisfaction. It can represent the culmination of coming to a certain sense of inner peace and well-being. The thing about it, though, is that it's like the person who's depicted on this card normally in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is a person who's alone, and looks a little smug, and so sometimes it can be interpreted, which I never really interpreted this way, but sometimes people interpret it as being like some kind of super smug person, where you're a little bit full of yourself sort of atmosphere, but I don't feel that. Normally I don't really like that interpretation for this card, because, sometimes we tend to demonize ourselves a lot, where we feel like, well, I can't be too, cocky, and I can't be too proud of myself and full of myself, And so we kind of attack ourselves sometimes. And so I tend to use this card as like a self-love card too, of like pouring your own emotional love back into yourself, and that it's okay to do that, right? It's okay to focus on yourself sometimes in order to grow, in order to to really thrive. In order to really thrive in life, sometimes we have to really do think about ourselves. We can't just try to help everyone else instead of ourselves, and let ourselves fall, right? We have to be the ones to pick ourselves up sometimes, and sometimes this card can talk about that. And so, with these two cards together, the biggest first impression I was getting is sort of like this idea of like, maybe some of this stuck energy is like you feel like you want to go it alone, right? Like there's a part of you that wants to break away from something or from certain situations, and you feel almost at a stalemate with that. And we don't have the Two of Swords, which can talk about that stalemate energy. It's the Hanged Man, but it's kind of similar. We'll look at more cards in a second, but I do feel like there's just sort of this sense of like, you, on the one hand, you know that there are certain things you want to achieve in your life, and you want to go after them, and you want to chase them, and really fulfill those feelings within yourself. But then on the other hand, there's this feeling of like, well, I also don't want to be too flashy, or I don't want to, I don't want to show off. I don't want to hurt anybody else by me, achieving my dreams. But the thing about it is like, it's not up to you to control somebody else's reaction to you. You know what I mean? As long as you are acting from a place of your own sense of like, as long as you're not trying to be a jerk, and you are self-aware, right? As long as you're being self-aware, and you allow yourself to really kind of check yourself. If you are in the position where you're willing to check yourself, and you're willing to look at yourself, and you're willing to say, okay, well, am I being a jerk right now or not? As long as you're willing to do that work, right? Like, it's not up to you to decide, for another person to decide, for you to decide how another person reacts to you going after what you want, because sometimes people like get really jealous, or they get really angry at others who are doing things that they wish they could be doing, but they don't, it's like a jealousy or an envy sort of energy. And a lot of times, I know for me personally, when I'm hit with that energy by people, I don't really know how to react a lot, and I tend to just sort of be like, oh yeah, I should just be hiding this part of me, right? Like, oh, I feel this envy coming from you, and that means I should be stopping what I'm doing, because I just don't want to cause waves, right? And that's not a good way to. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say good, but it's not. That's not a fulfilling way to walk through the world, because like ultimately, you bringing yourself down to somebody else's level because they're upset, that's not helping them, right, at all, and it's certainly not helping you. So what's the point? You know what I mean? I know for me, something I had to learn the hard way, and this is such a really crappy and difficult lesson that life has put me through. That's what my lifetime is kind of figuring this one out. Is like, sometimes people aren't going to like you, right? And sometimes people are going to be jerks, and they're not going to see things from your point of view. And sometimes people are not going to be cheering you on. And sometimes people are actively going to want to pull you down. Sometimes people are going to be like that. And it's really not cool. If you hear that dog barking, my neighbor has a dog. I got a new neighbor. Hopefully it won't get in the way of these videos. Anyway, so hi, small dog next door. Anyway, I'm gonna just keep going with this. But so you know what I mean? Like, it's not really up to you to dictate the the reactions of other people. It's not up to you. And it's crappy though too, because it's like, if you're anything like me, if you're human, I feel like it's not fun to be met with negative energy from other people, or somebody else's crap, right? Like a lot of times people project their stuff onto other people, and whenever that happens, it's really not fun in any way, shape, or form, right? It's not. But like at the same time, it's not up to you to decide whether or not somebody else is going to be doing that. And if somebody else does that, and and you're met with that reaction, you're well within your right to walk away from that person. And that's a hard thing to do though sometimes. And I feel like there's a little bit of that energy coming into this. We'll look at more cards here, but take this as it resonates. But I do feel like there's a little bit of this situation of, should I adapt myself to the room so that the room is more comfortable, or should I make myself who I really am, be myself truthfully, and make some people uncomfortable a little bit, but not, still be in my own love and my own light and my own, being open and willing to share joy with others, being totally open to it, but then at the same time protecting that love and joy from people who see that, and their only reaction to that is, oh, I need to pull that down because I don't feel that way, and I don't want anybody else to feel that way because I don't feel that way, right? There's so many people like that, and there's plenty of people not like that either. I think that's another important lesson, is like, it's not to say that everyone is that way, and it's not to say that everyone isn't that way. It's just that there's people who are experiencing their own inner pains and traumas and putting those out onto the world, and then there are people who are working through that stuff and don't want to perpetuate it. And it's just like we have everybody on this planet, right? So and it's not to say that those people are not valid, right, and should not be here. Not at all. I don't think that way, in any way, shape, or form. It's just that sometimes when people are being jerks, like, you can still appreciate their humanity and love them, but also understand that sometimes the most loving and compassionate thing you can do is walk away, and that's the truth. So we have 3 more cards from this deck, and they are the Mother of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Father of Wands. Okay, so I do feel a little bit of that. The Mother of Pentacles here is kind of reaffirming what we've been talking about. She's the most giving of the entire royal cards in the deck. She's the most giving, and she's the first to be open to giving everything to anyone who needs something, right? And that's a really admirable quality, and something to look up to, But when she's in the reverse, and like I said, I don't really read reversals, but I do feel like her reverse meaning is coming through this a little bit. She can be overgiving, right? She's a little bit too quick to give everything away, and then she doesn't have anything to, she's not able to give to a larger audience. She's not able to have a bigger impact because she's giving everything to the first person who comes and is taking everything, right? So it's like, there's a little bit of this sense of, from this reading, of like knowing where to hold back in certain situations, like knowing where your help is needed most, right? And knowing where there are certain people who will just try to take, and they might really need help, or it might look like they need help, but the one person that they need help from the most is themselves, to change and to change their mind and their perspective. And if sometimes giving to those persons' desires is an enabling behavior, and that, it's not easy to think from that perspective, and to really admit to that sometimes, but it is kind of something that happens. And for some of those situations, like if you're interacting with an addict, for instance, like, continuing to support somebody's habit, is only going to perpetuate them doing it, And so sometimes the most loving and compassionate thing you can do in that sort of situation is to walk away and to realize, like, there's nothing, me enabling this isn't going to help them get better. The one thing I can do is show them that, like, hey, I can't do this, and that's okay, that's okay. It's not easy, and it feels terrible, right? It feels really, really terrible to be in that kind of situation, but sometimes that is the most compassionate thing you can do, and so it's important to remember that, with this Mother of Pentacles, it's that idea that when you're in a plane crash, right, the one thing that they say is that you have to secure the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help others. Because if you don't do that, you're going to pass out. And if you pass out, you can't help anybody, and now other people are going to have to take up to help you, right? So not only are you not able to help others, but you become a burden on everyone else too. And, that's not a fun place to be. And so this is just a reminder of, like, it's okay to prioritize your own stuff, right? In your own life, in your own personal life, it's okay to prioritize that. And, like I said, these are lessons that I myself have had to learn the hard way, multiple times. I've had different dreams and plans and things completely derailed by all the people around me out of my own stuff, right? Like, it's not like I don't blame them, but I had this tendency to need to help everybody who was in my vicinity, and I was just a constant give machine, giving everyone everything, and I did have people take advantage of that, and take advantage, and I don't blame them as much as I don't blame myself either. It's a co thing, right? Like, that's the thing about I learned a really powerful lesson when that was happening, and I learned how to recognize this pattern of behavior, right? This is a pattern of codependence, right? This is a part of it. In patterns of codependence, both parties are it, right? It's codependent. So it's like, you might have somebody who like is like I said, a take kind of person. They're gonna just keep trying to find anybody who's gonna give them what they need, and they're just gonna keep taking until they explode, So yeah, anyway, getting back into the reading here, the one card I didn't quite mention, these two here, it's really tying into everything that we've just been talking about, because with this Father of Wands, it's that, like, creative force energy, and the Six of Pentacles in this particular deck especially can talk about, the Six of Pentacles are normally about giving and receiving in balance, but with this being, fruit-bearing bush, right? These fruits are ready to pluck, right? So it's like, you have these maybe creative ideas and projects and things and dreams, like I was saying, that you want to follow, and that's all there for you, and if these are messages from the universe, right? It's like the universe is asking you to really chase it, to really go after it, and to worry a little bit less about what that will mean for other people, and focus on what building your life could be for you. And when we improve ourselves, that has a positive ripple effect on those around us. And so, like I was saying, if your friends are going to be giving you a lot of crap for you following your dreams, then are they really your friends? And you might want to ask yourself that question. So that's first part of this reading. Next, we have a bunch of cards from the just three. Okay, three cards from the Rider Waite Smith deck. This version is called the Smith Waite deck. We've got the Five of Cups. We've got the Seven of Cups. And we've got the Queen of Pentacles again. All right, there she is. She came up twice in this reading. That's fun. So whenever a card comes up twice in a reading, right, it's the most important message from this whole situation. So that's important. It's finding that giving balance, right? And that's an important thing is finding that balance. When the Queen of Pentacles is upright like this, like I said, she has this incredible capacity to give, and and so what's important, I think, is to think about, like, well, if you're creating some kind of creative project or you're building something positive into this world, think about all the people you could impact with that. So maybe you spending time and energy and devotion to those specific things that you want to build in your life, maybe those projects and those things and whatever that is, maybe it has the potential to really reverberate and impact many people's lives, and many more people's lives than the 2 or 3 people that maybe you can't give all of your time and energy to as much anymore. So I realized that this whole section, I didn't record that little segment there, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully I recorded the first part. But anyway, I'll figure this all out in editing. It might be really quiet, but hopefully my microphone captured all of this. But anyway, like I've been saying, it's, you have all of these options, right, in your life with the Seven of Cups coming in here. So really what that's saying is that you have the opportunity to create anything in your life. And, I do feel like this is the beginning stages that you're in for some of this stuff. Like with these fruits here, it's like there is something that you're bearing, but it's almost like you have many directions that you could move, right? And so I think it's important for you to listen to and trust yourself on bringing in and working on and moving through all of the things that that you want to bring into this world, and really trusting that you have the ability and the capability to make them happen, and worrying less about what those around you will think, and focusing more on what it is you want to make. And with this Five of Cups here, there's an interesting thing about the Five of Cups. It's the grief card, and with it coming up in this reading, I do think that it's talking mostly about the larger meaning of this card, which talks about this perspective shift that can happen. And it's all about how, when crappy things happen in life, they're not easy, and they're crappy, right? When terrible things happen in life, there's really no sugarcoating them. But at the same time, we can learn from the difficult things that happen in our life, and we can take those situations that are challenging and difficult, and grow from them. And it's like it doesn't make the difficult things necessarily any easier or better, or they're still difficult, but they might be able to aid in your own personal growth. And it's just something that I like to do is try to use that perspective, because it makes it so that you can keep moving in life, right? That you don't have to let the worst things that happen to you define you. You don't have to let the most challenging situations and people and things and whatever, you don't have to let those become your identity. That you're allowed to change your mind and your perspective. You're allowed to let things go. You're allowed to move in new directions. You're allowed to become a different person. And I think that's the biggest message for you, pile number one, is you are allowed to become a different person. And if you feel chained to, the people around you who are doing something different than what you want to be doing in life, it's not, it does not make you a bad person to want to walk away from those people, right? It does not make you a bad person at all. And, sometimes we grow apart as people, it's just a natural thing. We all change. Change is the nature of reality. Every single one of us is constantly changing and moving. And sometimes we change together and sometimes we change apart. And there's some serious horns for confirmation out there. But that's the case, though. That's the thing, Sometimes we change together with others, and sometimes we change apart. And what does that mean? That means that, like, if you are growing apart from the people around you, and you want to go off and pursue something different and change and do a new thing, and the people around you don't like that, well, this is your life that you're living, and you know, it's okay if somebody else doesn't see the world the same way. And it's okay for you to change the way you see the world and do something different. And, that doesn't make other people bad people, and that doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that change occurs. And, you're growing apart from people maybe, and that's not easy, but it happens in life. It's a natural part of being alive that, we don't stay the same. And thank goodness we don't, because sometimes that change is needed. Sometimes that change is what brings us to the next level, that brings us into the ability to, like I said, pursue your passions and your dreams. You have ambitions for yourself. I feel that for you Pile One. You're a very ambitious person, and you shouldn't hold yourself back from following those things because it makes the people around you uncomfortable. You don't need to do that. You are allowed to follow your dreams, and if that makes other people mad, then like I said, what does that say about those people? Don't think about what does that say about me. Ask yourself, well, what does that say about them that they're gonna be that mean about, like they're gonna be angry that I'm following my dreams. Like, that says a lot about that other person, and maybe that's not a person that you want to be around anymore. And then that's okay. That doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean that, that you think you're better than them or anything like that. It just means like, hey, I'm not vibing on the same path anymore. Like, I don't feel the same way about life that you do anymore. And I can't be around you as much. And, that just is a natural part of life. We change, we grow, we move. And, like I said, everybody's changing. So maybe that other person is changing in a way that's, not so great for you. And like I said, that doesn't mean that you have to hate that person. It just means that you're not on the same page anymore, and that's okay. So we have one final card for this reading, and it comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is Unlimited Possibilities. Yeah. So I think with this Unlimited Possibilities card coming in, it really is about opening your mind and opening your perspective to the point where you start to remember and realize that things are not fixed in life, right? That we have the opportunity to change and to move and to grow, and everything is constantly in shift. And so, if you feel stuck or you feel like you've been around people who view the world in a certain way that you don't want to view the world in anymore, or you've been surrounding yourself with an understanding of life that maybe is bleak in a way that you don't want to perpetuate anymore for yourself, you are well within your right to walk away from that and to open your mind, right? There are unlimited possibilities in life. There really are. And it is about this perspective shift in order to figure that out. And it's a really hard thing. I was really just thinking about this for my own personal life recently. In that it's like, we can get really fixated on thinking, well, this is the way everything works, and this is how the world is, and this is what these people are like, and this is what this is, and that's just that. And and you can feel resigned to a sort of nihilism from that. But ultimately, that's actually not the case. All that is a way of seeing things, right? That's a perspective that you are holding within yourself. And I'm not saying that you necessarily are holding that perspective, pile number one, but the larger, that's we hold these perspectives, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that that is the way things are, but if we are determined to view the world that way, then we perpetuate that within the world, right? But if we allow ourselves to think that there are unlimited possibilities in life, that there are an infinite number of ways that things could be, there are an infinite number of ways that people can interact with the world. If we allow ourselves to view life from that perspective, then new beautiful things are they're given the space to pop into existence, right? But they can't come in if we don't allow for that infinite possibility. We don't allow for things to be whatever they need to be. And so, yeah. Anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. This is a really nice reading. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that this reading resonates. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think of it either way. I do love hearing from everyone. Excuse me. And yeah, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. It really does help. We're getting really, really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is incredible. A huge thanks to all of the new subscribers who came on in the last few weeks. I'm so honored to have you with me. This channel is a passion project for me. I've been working on it for the last over a year now. Yeah, it's been like a year and a half, and it's slowly growing, but I think it's great. I'm nurturing it as much as I can. I work a full time. I do so many things. I'm working on so many things right now in my life, art stuff and jobs, and doing a class to teach English, to try to do different jobs and start traveling more and all this stuff. So, I got a lot going on, but I really do want this channel to exist, and I want to make it thrive. So my goal is to be able to do one a week, and I did take last week off. So like I said in the intro, I do apologize for that. But some weeks you need to do that. Self-care is important. And yeah, I'm working 5 days a week now from 4 days, and I'm doing a class and all this stuff. So I don't need to tell you too much about my life here. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. You can find out my information at the website, www.junodrome.com. We've got an Instagram at Junodrome Tarot. And yeah, you can find private readings and stuff on the website. And I've got exciting tarot stuff to come in the future. I'm not really announcing it yet, so I'm going to be cryptic. There's a new project I'm working on. So yeah, that'll be fun. And yeah, anyway, pile number one, I will catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hi there, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for what do you need to hear right now? What are the important incoming messages from the universe that are needing to be here? Urgent messages. Let's find out. They're going to be spiritual. So the urgent is a clickbaity thing. I do think they're important messages probably, but we don't need to be anxiety ridden about it. But algorithms and clickbait and all that stuff. I don't know. I am trying to grow their channel. Let's jump in. So you chose the pile with the fireflies. Really kind of magical sort of a thing, right? Fireflies, catching these beautiful light bugs. Funny story. I grew up in New Hampshire. But then I spent every summer here in Seattle because my dad lived here and my mom lived there. So I never spent the summer in New Hampshire, and I never really saw fireflies. But this summer, I was visiting New Jersey, which is still the Northeast, but different, and visiting my grandmother. And in her backyard, I was hanging out with all these fireflies, and it was really amazing. Yeah, I'll read the back. It says, "Shine your brilliant light. So we'll get to that at the end. But let's look at the cards first. Starting up, I just have two tarot decks today, and then I have um, an oracle card. Um, so we'll start with two from the Wild Unknown Tarot, and we've got the Lovers, and we've got the Daughter of Pentacles. Interesting. So yeah. So, well, you know what? We're going to have all four. You also have the Son of Swords. Okay. And we have the 10 of Swords. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do think I needed both of those. Let's put these like this. Um, mm. So I do think that there's some relationship dynamics coming into play here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with like somebody that you're dating, with the lovers, but I do feel like the lovers are referring to some kind of relationship. Um, just in this one instance, I don't always interpret it that way. The lovers can also talk about connecting in with yourself, but I just feeling this energy here with especially with the 10 of swords. There's something tricky going on in your life, I think. Take this as it resonates. If this isn't your reading, we have other readings in this pile, so I'm just going to follow my intuition and try to do this reading based on what I'm feeling. So if it doesn't sound like it's for you, that's fine. There's other readings. But I feel like this reading is for somebody who is going through a difficult relationship with someone. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be about um, like a romantic partner. It could be a family member, it could be friends. Take this as it resonates. But I do feel like business partner, maybe. Um, I feel like you've been through it with people in general. Maybe this is talking about relationships in general. With the 10 of Swords, it can talk about feeling very defeated, and it can talk about feeling like you know stabbed in the back. But the thing about it is, it's a very dramatic card, right? It is talking about like you're probably feeling pretty down, and what happened was probably pretty crappy, or you went through a situation that was probably pretty terrible, or something along those lines. But with it being, like I said, this dramatic thing, it's like you look at this, in this case, this buffalo who's been killed by all these swords. Um, did it really need to take that many, right? And so it can talk about sort of like wallowing a little bit in it, just like not only being low and being down, but sort of like sometimes we can be really low and really down, and we just kind of want to wallow in it sometimes, and like really kind of perpetuate it and like dig into our own sorrow. And I don't mean to be laughing at you if you're feeling this way. It's not a fun place to be. It's just from personal experience. I've been there, where you just like you're so down, you're so down that like you're kind of looking at a certain point. You start looking for excuses to be down, and like you just like no, like I just it's like you feel justified in feeling gross, right? And so then you're just looking for other things to justify you feeling terrible, and it becomes self perpetuating a little bit. Um, that's the energy of the 10 of Swords. And with that Son of Swords there, it just feels like, and then the Daughter of Pentacles. Yeah, it's such like a. This is such an interesting, with this being this relationship dynamic energy. It's like, look at that. These cards are just like, it's totally. You've got, on the one hand, you've got this innocent doe who's just like standing under this rainbow, this beautiful sense of innocence, and then like it's being like totally stabbed by this owl's coming in with the sword. Just go, grrr. So it's just like I feel almost like there's a certain sense of a loss of innocence here. Um, and it probably feels terrible. So like I said, I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I'm just coming into this with a certain sense of levity, because sometimes levity can really help in a difficult situation. So, I don't mean to be sounding crass if this is really where you are. Um, but there is this sort of sense of like, you know, like you've been hurt. I think you've been really hurt by somebody in a situation, and there's a certain sense of like of you perpetuating that hurt onto yourself even more in your mind over and over and over again. Like you're playing it over and over and over again. And like I said, like it's not to say that what happened wasn't terrible. Because when we go through these difficult situations, we can really feel it. I need more cards. I need more cards. I'm gonna pull the rest of these cards too. This is a very interesting reading. I don't get readings like this very often, so if this is resonating with you, let me know. It just feels really tricky, like you're in a really tricky situation, but it almost feels like it. Like I said, there's like this layer of like, mm, it's like not only did you go through something terrible, but now you're kind of like wearing it, right? Like when we go through challenging situations, sometimes it's like we don't process it fully, or we hold on to it, and then it kind of becomes who we are. We turn it into our identity of like, I have been hurt in this way, and that that is who I am, is this hurt. And almost like, ugh, this just feels, I don't want to feel, I feel like I'm being a jerk to you, and I'm not trying to, right? So I'm coming to you with a certain level of compassion, but what I'm really feeling from this is sort of a victim mentality. And like, we all are victims at certain points in our life, and terrible things can happen to us. But sometimes we victimize ourselves by not only like going through a terrible thing, but then holding on to that terrible thing and telling ourselves that that terrible thing not only is who we are, but it makes us like, it's almost like we feel important because of it, or not important, but it's like this incredibly impactful thing happened to me, that this is the defining thing of my being, and this is it, and that's just victim mentality that we can get stuck into. It's very easy. I've been here, right? I want to preface this by saying I've been here, right? I've been through, oh god. I've been in some really psychologically abusive relationships with certain people. And um I have been a victim in my life in that situation, in a relationship dynamic, and I have been through really horrible things with certain individuals, and then been left feeling so lost and down and low and gross and just like terrible. Like, this has all happened to me in my own life, so I know what this feels like to be in this. But at a certain point, like, well, and then what ends up happening too, and this might be a little bit of it, because I said like the little bit this feels like relationship dynamics in general. Like, we can get caught in a loop too sometimes, where we have something bad happen to us, and then we start like kind of perpetuating those situations over and over again in relationship dynamics. Um, which, if you're going through that, friend, like, I'm sorry, like that is not a fun place to be at all. It's not. And so I said, like, take this as it resonates. If this doesn't sound like you, then, you know, this might not be your reading. But if you're here and you've been with me this long, like, it's just a really challenging place to be. And when let me just talk about my own life here. I'm going to put these cards down and talk to you about my own life and kind of how I got out of it. Like, I went through that abusive thing was with this like friend person who was in my life, and just kind of like warped my mind a little bit, and very charismatic, kind of sociopathic, manipulative person. And I just sort of, I feel like I changed my whole personality when I was with them, and in a way that I didn't like and didn't recognize. And pretty much immediately after getting out of that, I entered into this relationship with somebody, and like, it was codependent and it didn't work out, and we broke up. But it's like I perpetuated into that. Like, I needed that relationship to be what would fix all of my problems. with this person and the trauma that I went through, but instead it just sort of perpetuated that trauma and I held on to it. And then after I broke up with that person, I just went through this period of a few years where I was just like holding on to just the worst stuff inside, and I did not process anything, and I was just like so depressed. I mean, I was chronically depressed at that point, and I just like, that feeling where you just can't really get out of bed sort of a thing, and just like, just like, ugh. I did not like who I became, but I went through my goth phase, which was fun, but also like so dramatic. Ugh. Um, but that's exactly this energy, where it's just like you take it on and like you're like, no, life is terrible and everything's, and everyone's horrible and blah blah blah, and you just kind of like you wallow in it and you just kind of like, "Grr," that kind of nihilistic gravy train. And it's fun, like I don't want to admit it, but it kind of is fun to wallow sometimes, I think that's why we do it, like, I mean, it's not fun what we go through, and it's not fun to be in a low place, and depression is terrible. Like, it's not fun at all. But like when you're in that place, sometimes it can feel good to just like wallow, It can feel really good to do that. Um but like, I don't think at the end of the day that that's doing you any favors. And I think you know that. I think you know that. Yeah, the rest of these cards, it just like it's a totally different reading. So it's so weird. This reading is so strange. Maybe that's where you were, right? Like, or even if you're there now, I think that there are things going on in your life where you are moving away from that dynamic. There's something happening where, maybe that's a pound, maybe you're like me, where you went through that kind of thing, and then, there's only a certain I feel like there's only a certain point that you can go. Like you take that as far as you can go, and then you either move or you don't, right? You either in either way, you need to move, but it's like you either choose to try to heal or you're stuck in it and you choose to not heal. But either one is a choice, right? And I feel like you're ready to choose the healing, or you've already moved on that journey, or you're already working on it in a way where you're walking away from certain things and you're moving towards the new things, right? Like you either you take where you are on that timeline spectrum, but I feel like there's this new energy coming in now that's like this like crazy material abundance energy. I don't know what that's about yet, but let's look it down here. It's like you're being given by the universe this Ace of Cups. That's kind of what this reading is coming in. Like, this is urgent messages from the universe. What the universe is bringing you is this Ace of Cups. So it's like you have a new beginning in your emotional sphere here. And I think with this 3 of Wands, it's like now is the opportunity for you to imagine a better future, right? Yes, you went through some terrible things in the past. You went through probably something really, really horrible, Maybe it was really bad. Or even if it wasn't, it still hurts. And you have the opportunity now to create whatever you want from your life, right? And that's a really tough place to go to when you are feeling really lost. But one thing that I think is really important to remember, and it's difficult to remember this when you're feeling really low, but the only thing that exists from a time perspective, from an anything perspective, is this particular moment right here, right now. This is all there is this right here, right now. The past, it doesn't exist anymore. Like it literally it's done. Like you can't change it. You can't go back there even. You're never going to be in that place again, you know? I mean, at least in that particular moment, like you might I can't say whether or not you're going to go through something terrible again, but I think we all go through things, and you can't really predict it necessarily. But the thing that you went through that brought you down so low, and the people who brought you down, y- you don't have to be in that anymore. Like you don't have to do that anymore, because that literally doesn't exist anymore. Even if you're still surrounded by those people, what happened doesn't exist anymore. So you can move away from those people if you want. That's one thing I did for me. Eventually, like that low period, I don't think there's pretty much anybody in my life who I was completely surrounded by at that moment. I don't think there's many of them that I see anymore on purpose. Um, yeah, I think pretty much everybody from that time, I, nope, I just walked away from eventually. And like, that sounds kind of harsh, but I needed to do that because like that's all of that I went through, all of that stuff. I don't want to be in that anymore. And like, I don't want to deal with those people anymore. I don't want to go down to those places anymore. I don't want to deal with any of that. Not anymore. I'm done, you know? And and so I did. I walked away from that. And so it's like the universe is kind of coming in, I think, because I've been through what I've been through. I think that maybe this is why I'm the one who's giving you this message. Um it's like the universe is offering you this opportunity where it's like, okay, so, you know, think about the future not as something that's set in stone, but as a trajectory, right? Like I said, all that exists is right here, right now. Tomorrow doesn't exist either. Like where you're going doesn't exist either. So if you feel stuck in this inevitable loop, where it's like, I'll always be doing. People will always treat me like this, and I will always be in this situation, and nothing will ever change. I'm gonna be stuck in this thing forever, and blah blah. Blah. I'm always gonna be depressed. Whatever, any of these always situations. Um, no, you don't have to, right? If you tell yourself you're always going to be in this, you're probably going to continue to perpetuate it into your life. But that's a trajectory that you are putting yourself down. You're putting yourself on that timeline to be in the timeline where you do that thing, right? But there are an infinite number of timelines that you can shoot yourself off into, right? You can think of it, like I said, think of it like a trajectory, right? Like you're aiming towards something and you're shooting towards it as like, this is what I want to do. And that's what the Three of Wands is kind of coming in. And so it's like, you don't have to perpetuate the awful things that have happened to you in your life anymore. You don't have to do that. You really don't. So if you are really at a very low place right now, um, you don't have to stay there if you don't want to. Now, if you want to stay there, like I said, sometimes it can be fun to be wallowing in the low places. So, like, I'm never going to tell anybody not to do that because I had to go probably as low as you can go. I hit my own personal rock bottom totally. And I think I had to do that in life. I think I had to make the choices that I made, and I think I had to go all the way down there to just kind of figure my crap out, figure out my stuff. I had a lot of personal traumas, and I had a lot of just intergenerational ancestral trauma that I had to work through. Um, that I think I had to work it out somehow. And I don't know. You don't have to believe in past lives and stuff, but I personally do, and I think that I had a lot of past life stuff I had to work on as well. Um, but I did that work though, and I mean, I'm still doing it. I think we're all always doing that kind of work. But here's the thing, right? My lowest moment, my like dark night of the soul moment probably was 2019. I've never been as low as then. That's when I hit rock bottom. Um I don't know, what year is it? 2021 now? I'm like in the complete opposite place of that now. So ultimately, it didn't really take me that long to work through it, but I completely and 100% devoted myself to healing. Um, and I just I made a deal with the universe, right? in a certain way, and I asked my guides, and I worked with angels actually a lot. I actually personally recommend working with angels for healing because man, that's some powerful magic they got there. Um, but I did that, and I also learned how to distinguish. I mean, I don't need to get too far into my own stuff, but like I got really into occult stuff for a while and magic and manifestation like that way, and I was super into like chaos magic and all this kind of thing, and I still think there's benefits to working on that kind of thing, but I had no conception of differentiating between entities and stuff like that. And I definitely, I mean, I was letting everybody in the back door, into my body and my being, and every ghost and demon and whatever crap wanted to come in. It was a free buffet. So I honestly think that's a part of why I got so depressed, is because I was just like, ooh. I learned how to tell a difference between those kinds of things now, and that's why, like, I don't know if I said it in the intro or whatever, but like, I really only work with the nice people now. Pretty much just angels and like my own personal spirit guides or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, if I wanted to, I'm sure I could develop a practice where I could actually like meditate and see them fully, and do that kind of dream time work and all of that. I don't do as much as I should because I'm just trying to do so much in my life right now. But I guess what I'm trying to say in that is that, like, I learned how to put up really, 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 really strong boundaries, not only in the physical but also in the metaphysical, right? The spiritual worlds and the physical worlds. I have very, 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 very strong boundaries now. And I maintain those boundaries. Um, and I'm not afraid to maintain those boundaries. So I just, and it might sound harsh to some people, and I'm sure for the people that I've cut out of my life, I know for a fact there are some of them who like really hate me now. But ultimately I had to do that. I had to do it. I had to just say, you know what? I can't. I need to put a very physical boundary between me and all the crap I went through. Like, I have to do that. And I'm not saying the past didn't happen. Oh no, not at all. I learned so much from everything that happened to me, and I'm so glad that I did what I did, and like, I learned what I learned. But I also, like, I'm really happy that there are certain places I'm never going to go again, like physically in this, like, there are certain places I don't want to go because there are people I don't want to see, and that's okay. you know that's okay. That's okay. I had to be okay. I had to become okay with that in order to heal. um and I feel okay about that. And it's a little mean. I do feel like I was a little mean to some people. I mean, I wasn't cruel. I don't hate any of those people. I didn't say anything. I just walked away and unfriended a bunch of people on Facebook and stuff. Like, I don't know. Is that really a huge deal? I don't know. But that's why I had to do that. I had to do that. And, you know, I, I'm happy that I did it because I'm at the point now where I I feel like I can be myself now in a way that I could not be before because I was just trying to please people and all of that. And like I said, I'm getting way too far into me here, but I'm hopefully my story is resonating with you on a certain level and it's giving you some kind of understanding. Um Sometimes you do need to put up those boundaries with even with yourself. You need to have boundaries with yourself where some of my own addictive tendencies and just my tendencies to like to wallow, right? Because we're going back into this wallowing, of just like, sometimes I want to do nothing in a way that's not helpful, just like streaming the internet forever and that's it. And I feel good, like I'm finding a good balance for that now, but still, like, that's still a part of me, is knowing that all of that's there. And so it's just like, I had to learn how to have a better relationship with myself too, which I think is a part of this. And I didn't mention these yet, but I'm going to do it before I forget. Like I said, with this trajectory stuff for you, you have the ability to shoot yourself into this, ultimate material abundance, and just like, I think it's more than that. Like, the Pentacles talk about your physical world. So you have the ability to build a physical world with the people who surround you and the places that you live and the jobs that you have and the activities that you do and all of that. You have the power within you to shoot yourself into the trajectory, and that's very violent language. I'm sorry. To put yourself on the path where you make those things happen. You 100% have the ability to do that. You can make anything happen that you choose in your life. But it's going to take work, it's going to take time, it's going to take energy, and it's going to take effort. But if you're willing to put in that work, you can make anything happen. You really, really can. And so it's just a matter of you deciding what it is that you want and walking towards it, and walking away from the things that are getting in the way of that. And like I said, that's not always an easy thing. But yeah, you have the ability to. So if you are really in a low place, understand that you don't have to stay there if you don't want to. And it might take time and it might take work to heal, and you might have legitimate trauma that you need to process. And so another thing too, if you are really feeling super depressed, I really do recommend therapy. That's one thing actually that helped me in my lowest moments too, was I went and saw a therapist, and I didn't see one for too long. And cause like, I don't know, I do a lot of these online video stuff, and therapy is expensive, so I understand that. But if you can even see a therapist for a few sessions just to get an understanding, come with questions and ask questions, and it can be incredibly helpful. It can be so helpful. And so, be open to that. Be open to finding somebody to talk to. But if you truly want to heal, there is the resources and ability out there to do so. You might want to check out the Holistic Psychologist. She's on YouTube. I would look her up. For you in particular, I think there's a lot, because you have all this relationship dynamic stuff that you might need to work through and understand a little bit better. I think that her videos, she touches on so much of that kind of stuff. I think her videos would be really helpful for you. So anyway, final card for you guys is from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is discernment. Wow. So first off, there's this sort of like rope tree thing that's connecting one end to the other. So that's kind of like a timeline thing. So, you know, this is almost like a message from your future self kind of a thing, right? That there's like a future version of you that wants to come in here real quick and say like, "Hey, we can build whatever. So if you want to, make this happen, like we can get there. So be open to it, So that's just an aside. But with that discernment there as well, I do feel like it's sort of this idea of like learning how to tell the difference, Like I went on that tangent about talking about spirits and entities who are not so great versus those who are. I had to learn discernment on how to tell the difference between the two, that there was a difference, that that I didn't have to open myself up to everything, that I could put up strong boundaries in my life, that I could ask for protection against certain things. Like I didn't even know that I could do that, but I learned how to understand that and how to recognize that and how to do that kind of work. And I think that there's a little bit of that for you as you learn more and as you walk away from certain things and as you grow. There's a little bit here about learning how to recognize who are people that are here to help you, or at least, are friendly and want to, are people you can trust and are good, and then who are people who aren't, and recognizing that there is a difference sometimes, and that there are some people who you don't have to be around, that you don't have to surround yourself around with everyone who wants to be around you. You don't have to necessarily, because, why do they want to be around you? If they want to be open and loving and, a part of seeing you for who you are, then yeah, great. Be friends. That's wonderful. But if they, have their own intentions and ideas of who you are that aren't you, and, and they need you to be a certain way. And if you aren't, then they, don't really care about you. Then, maybe these are not such the best people to be around. Or, are they just looking to take advantage of you? Maybe you don't have to be around people like that. You can learn how to recognize the signs earlier where you see like, oh, this person is not, this is the same thing, this I know what this person is. I've seen them a dozen times, and you know what, I don't want to deal with that right now, so I'm going to just walk away from the situation. And that's okay. You are allowed to do that. Yeah. So anyway, pile number 2, that's my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think of it either way. I do love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading for me, they are available on the website at www.junodrome.com. There's an Instagram with some stuff. That's at Junodrome Tarot. And just a huge, huge thanks to all of the new subscribers that I got the last few weeks. I'm honored to have you with me. We're getting really close to 1,000. When we reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a couple free readings and some other stuff. So, it'll be great. So, yeah. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading on what do you need to hear right now? What are the messages from the universe that are urgently trying to come into your life? I say urgent, but that kind of stressful anxiety is kind of the opposite of what I try to bring out in a reading. So I'm really kind of just saying that for clickbait. I'll just be honest with you. But the messages are going to be good either way. So, sometimes you got to draw the listener in. And that's what I'm learning what YouTube algorithms want, while also providing the right readings for everybody, Anyway. You chose the pile with the binoculars here. So what are you setting your sights on, pile number 3? That's kind of what I'm getting from this. See the world. Ooh, maybe you've got travel in your future. I don't know. Let's take a look at the cards. So we'll set that aside for now. I'll pull that back in maybe later. So for this reading today, I just have 2 different tarot decks and then 1 oracle deck. And we've got 4 cards from the Wild Unknown. We'll start with 2, and then we'll see if we need more than just the 2. So we've got the 2 of Pentacles, and we've got the Emperor. Wow. Oh man. Pile number 3. You guys are on it. What does the universe need to tell you right now? You got this, is what's going on. So I feel like you've really been in control of your life recently, and you're kind of like taking life by the, what is it? I always mix up my idioms. Taking the bull by the horns, right? In life, you're taking charge of your life. I feel that with that Emperor energy, and where that's mostly coming into your life here is with this 2 of Pentacles, which is the card of balance. So, like, not only are you in a position right now where you are, on it, that you're looking at what you want in your life. You're bringing about the changes and the necessary situations into your life that are going to translate into what you're trying to make happen. And I feel that it's like you're taking on the Emperor mindset, which is, okay, I see where I want to go in life. I have these goals. I have this understanding on what I'd like to create and bring into the world. So not only do I see that I have that, but now I'm going to take the necessary actions and steps that are required of me to bring those things into reality. So not only do I know that I have the ability to make anything happen, but I am willing to take all of the steps necessary to do that. And some of those steps may be really striking an important balance in your life. So in order to prioritize the things that you really want to make happen in life, you're willing to say, okay, well, I see ultimately that I want to make this thing happen, but I know that I have to pace myself, because if I try to do everything all at once, I'm going to burn out. So okay, I have to take my time. That's the part one. Part two is like, well, okay, but I also need to take the steps to make this happen. So you're kind of juggling and balancing those things. So some days maybe you need to get extra sleep. And, that means not doing something at the beginning of the day that you wanted to, but maybe you have time at the end of the day that you can cycle back and do it then. And maybe you really can put something off for tomorrow as long as you actually do it tomorrow. And you can catch back up on the rest that you need and then get that thing done the next day. That kind of energy is kind of what I'm feeling. It's like you're learning how to strike that balance in your life so that you can actually do the things that you need to do and let go of the things that you can't focus on either. So maybe that means too, like, you understand, well, I can't do everything that I really, really want to do. I have all of these amazing things I want to get done, but I'm going to make priorities here. Like I see, what's the most important thing. You're looking at the bigger picture. Like for the bigger picture, this is where I really want to be. So in order to get to that point, what are the most important things that I can do right now, and what are some things that maybe I can push off, a few months, a few weeks, a few whatever. And like, what's the most important thing that I can take right now in order to get to where I want to go in the shorter term, and then I can leave my long-term goals sort of more in that longer term understanding, right? So I feel like you're kind of making those sort of choices and decisions for yourself right now. Oh, we have three more cards. Okay. So now we have three more cards from the Wild Unknown, and we have the um, Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. We've got the Two of Swords. Okay, wow. So this definitely is striking a balanced dualistic energy. And then we have the Ten of Cups. Yeah. Ultimate happiness. So that's kind of neat. The Two of Swords is really mirroring the Two of Pentacles here. Sometimes the Two of Swords can definitely talk about having to make a decision, but I think it's not as dire as the card sometimes can talk about. I don't think you're really necessarily stuck on choosing between two things. I think it's exactly what I've been just talking about, where it's like you understand that there may be some things you need to walk away from in the short term to get and reach the goals that you're looking to do, right? So it's sometimes it's okay to take a break from certain things when you know that there are other things that are a little bit more important right now to get you closer to where it is you're really looking to go. ASAP, right? And then the other things that are things you'd like to do at some point. You can really start to ask yourself, well, is this completely necessary to spend my time on right now, or do I need to prioritize my time for something else right now? And I feel that kind of time management balance is really being mirrored by that Emperor card. And then with this Eight of Pentacles here, I really really like the Eight of Pentacles depicted in this particular deck, because it's like not only putting in the work on something, but it's like receiving that benefit. It's very much aligned with the concept of the spider, where the spider spins the web to catch the flies, right? So the spider puts in the work to catch its dinner and hunt its prey, not by chasing the prey. What it does is it spends all its time and energy building the web, and then the prey comes to the spider and gets stuck. And so it's like in order to bring in those manifestations that you're working on or whatever, and sometimes that can seem like a buzzword, but in order to make the things in life that you're trying to make happen and bring into your life, in order to do that, you are willing to put in the necessary work and effort that's going to take to get there. And sometimes that means doing small repetitive tasks over and over and over again in order to do something, right? So for instance, just as an example, with this YouTube channel here, I'm getting more and more subscribers. So thank you so much for subscribing, by the way, if you have. But it's taken me a lot of time, right? I've been doing this for a year and a half now, and it's a slow moving process, and that's fine. I don't have it's one of many things that I'm working on. So I don't have time to do a video every day. And so because of that, I have to be willing for the channel to grow slowly, and I am. But what that means, though, is that, there's a lot of small repetitive tasks that are associated with making a YouTube channel that it sometimes is hard. Like I took last week off. Sorry I did that, by the way, but I needed it. But that's the thing. It's like if you take a week off, then, it's even harder to get back into the process, and things go, the way that they go. And challenges occur, but ultimately, you know, I think it's like a part of this striking the balance energy here is like you have to be willing to do that, right? It's less important to um to get everything done on time than it is to make sure that you get back on the horse when you take breaks, right? And that can be a challenge sometimes, but I feel like you are learning how to strike that balance, pile number 3, and that's what's really translating because we have this 10 of cups here, which is ultimate happiness, ultimate emotional fulfillment. So it's like this is the process that you're learning right now, that you're building, that you're creating, that you're bringing into your life. As you learn how to do this is how you bring in that ultimate happiness for yourself. It's like you're putting in this work now to receive the outcome later, and you're willing to do the necessary steps and actions to build that into being. And the more that you do that work, the more that that will ultimately translate into your life. And so I feel that that's the path that you're on right now, pile number 3, and that's what the universe really wants to talk about, is that this is very real for you, and it's coming. And so it's like I feel this sort of energy of like, don't give up, keep going. Like, yeah, it might be taking a while for something to happen, um, and it might continue to take a while, but if you are willing to continue to put in the work on this, pile number 3, you will see results. So keep going, keep going. That's the biggest message from this reading. So next up, we have 4 cards from the Smith Waite deck, and I think I'm going to break them up in 2 again. So the first 2 are. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, there's the Eight of Pentacles again. So that's the most important message from this reading. And then we have the King of Swords. So whenever a card comes up twice in the reading for me, I take that as to be the main message for your entire reading. And that's like, it's really being highlighted by Spirit here. So so you really are, you're putting in a lot of work on something right now. And some days, like I was saying with that balance card, it's like some days it might be harder than other days to get things done. And you have to be willing on the short term to allow yourself to have that kind of fluctuation. To know that on the long term, if you continue to put in the work, you are legitimately building something that's real. And it might be a while until you see results. And, it's just you have to have faith that it will come. And with this King of Swords, it's like you're really being encouraged to take on the mindset of the King of Swords, who is this very clear-minded person. And the King of Swords doesn't allow emotional setbacks and difficult situations to get in their way as they move forward in life. They don't make their choices and the decisions from an emotional point of view. Not that they don't have emotions. In fact, they have very, very deep emotions. I had a reader once describe how, you see that the King of Swords is wearing this red cloak that's hidden underneath this other cloak. So the red cloak represents the emotional spectrum that the king goes through, but he's cloaked his emotions over with this other cape. So it's like he's gonna feel his feelings very deeply, because we need to feel our emotions and our feelings excuse me, in order to process things, in order to move forward in life. Like we must feel our emotions. It's so important. But he doesn't allow that to get in his way, right? He feels his emotions very deeply, and then he makes his choices after he's already felt and worked through his emotions. So his decisions are coming from a very clear-minded perspective, instead of anything really emotionally drawn. So I feel like that's connecting in again with this Emperor energy here of like, you might have days that are hard. You might have days that are setbacks. You don't allow those to get in your way, though, right? Like, you still continue. Like, if one day is a wash, you just have to forgive yourself and say, okay, today was a wash. Like, I didn't get anything done that I wanted to. That's okay. I didn't do that today. That's okay, because you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get back on the horse. We're going to get back on the wagon, and we're going to do it, and then do it tomorrow, and then actually do and follow through, instead of allowing, the next day to be like, well, I didn't do it then, I'm never going to do it ever. So don't allow any one minor setback to become the excuse that stops you from continuing to pursue something. Yeah, that's what I feel for you. So we have 2 more cards here. I'm just going to check the battery real quick just to be sure we're still filming. And we are. This camera sometimes just shuts off, so I think I did that for another pile, and we just had black screen. So if it might happen to us, but I'm gonna try to pay attention. Anyway, next two cards. Oh, this is so wonderful. Oh wow. Oh, what an interesting dichotomy. Oh my gosh, we have the star, and then we have the devil. Wow. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here, right? So these two cards show opposite ends of a spectrum, right? And it's sort of like you have two paths you can go down. So with this two of swords energy, that's repeating that, that you have two different options you can go down, and it's this very clear dichotomy. It's really neat. So on the one hand, you have the star, right, which is this brightness that comes out of the darkness, and on the other side, you have the devil, which is the the things within that keep us bound to the darkness, right? Or darkness, quote unquote. That can be a tough subject. What I mean by that is the things that keep us tied up and bound, in giving up, right? So it's like with that King of Swords, really taking that on. When you have tough days, right, you don't have to allow those tough days to be the reason why you're never going to be able to do anything and blah, 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 any of that kind of stuff. Like, no, you don't have to allow that. Sometimes tough days are just tough. And, we all experience tough days. But instead of allowing that to be, the voice in your head to pull you in and pull you under into that, that realm of like, oh, you see, you didn't get this done, you could never get that done, blah, 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 like you don't have to fall down that. You can follow the path of the star, which is the light in the darkness, where it's like, you know what? It's like, I am going to be really patient with myself right now. I am going to be really kind to myself and nurturing. And I see that, you know what? Maybe today I didn't do what I wanted to do. I'm not going to say that I can never do what I want to do. And I'm not going to say that I'm incapable of doing these sort of things. I'm just going to say, you know what? Some days are harder than other days. Some days I can do stuff. Some days I can't. But you know what? I'm going to keep getting back up at the end of the day. I'm going to keep getting back up, and I'm going to keep trying, because I know that I am capable of making something happen, and I will build it into my life. And it might take me a long time, and it might take me day after day after day of work. But you know what? Some days I'm going to rest. Some days I'm going to work. And I just have the faith that I'm going to be able to make this stuff happen. I'm going to be able to bring into the world my dreams. I'm going to be able to bring in these beautiful, wonderful ideas that I'm coming up with. I'm going to be able to make them happen. And it might take me years, but I am willing to do that work. And, I'm going to try my hardest. And I feel like that's sort of the thing for you. Pile number 3 is like, if you continue to do that, you're going to get somewhere. And some days it's going to feel like you're treading water, but you know what? Like, you're still swimming, right? Even if you're just treading water, you're still in it. You're still in it. So don't give up on yourself, and allow yourself to have off days, because we all do. You're human. You're a human being. You're gonna have mistakes. You're gonna have days that don't work out. You're gonna have times where it feels like you're not actually achieving anything, but that doesn't mean that you will never get to where you're going just because you have one or two off days. If you think about the bigger picture, think about all of the times where you have accomplished something. Think about all of the times where you've built something into your life. Yeah, there might have been days where it didn't work out, but you kept going and you were able to make it happen, right? I'm sure there are times in your life that you have where you achieved and accomplished something by putting in the hard work. And so, I do feel like you've put in an incredible amount of work into something specific. And, I think you have more work to do. But you know what? That's okay. Because if you're willing to do that, you're going to see something from it. So just be willing to do that work, and be willing to really put in the time. And if you are, you will get something out of it. So your final card comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it's all good. Oh, this is one of the best cards in that deck. It's just literally what it says. It's all good, right? It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Everything is good. You have an off day. It's all good, right? You can get back up tomorrow and keep working. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're never going to get to where you are, where you want to go. Maybe sometimes, like with this channel, I had months where I wasn't doing anything for months. And you know what? It's all good. It's all good, because I'm getting back up and I'm really putting in the time, and I really want to get this channel going. I'm going to put in the time and the energy and the effort to make it happen. And it's all good, And here we are. I'm gaining more followers thanks to all of the new people who are joining us. If you're new, please subscribe. It really does help. But anyway, it's all good, because in the it's all about the aggregate, right? If you continue to put in the work, you will see results. So just be willing to do that, and you're gonna be where you want to go. You're gonna get to where you need to go. And the universe, remember, we co-create with the universe, so the universe is there to help. Um, your guides, your angels, spirit, the universe itself, the metaphysical embodiment of the stars, however you want to conceive of it. There's beautiful things out there who want to help you and that are there for you. So ask for it. Just ask. Even just if you don't want to ask anybody specifically, you could just be like, can I get help? I need some help. I'm a little tired and I need help tomorrow to really get back into this energy. Can you help me with that? And you'll get results. You'll get it. It's there. It wants to help you, right? So be open to that too. Anyway, pile number 3. I'm going to leave you there. I hope that this reading resonated. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think either way. I do love hearing from everybody. If you want a private reading from me, they are available on my website. You can find that at junodrome.com. And there is a Instagram that you can follow me at Junodrome Tarot. And then, super, super huge thanks to all of the new subscribers who've come along in the last few weeks. I gained a lot of people. I'm super thankful to have you with me. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help me out. And we're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. When we do, there's going to be 2 free reading giveaways. So that'll be really exciting then. So anyway, tune in, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for what do you need to hear right now? What are the urgent, important messages from the universe that are trying to come in to your life right now? And I say urgent, but it's not that urgent, but they will be timely and probably what you need to hear this moment. So, yeah. Nothing too dire, though. Nothing's ever that dire, I don't think. Anyway, you chose the pile with this great mountain card, and mountains can be a symbol of grounding, coming back into yourself, coming back into your body, being present in this moment, physically here. And the quote says, "We need the tonic of wildness." Henry David Thoreau. Pretty neat little message there. So maybe a little time to go out into nature is being called for. So let's take a look at the cards and see what they have to say. So first up, we have a bunch of cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. I'm going to do these in sections. So we'll do the first 2. We got the Hermit. Ooh, interesting. And Strength. Okay, so, big message coming out at the beginning here is, sometimes it's okay to go off on your own and do your own thing. And, with the Strength card being next to that, I think that maybe there's a little bit of hesitation or trepidation within you to go off on your own and do something by yourself, but it feels like you're being called to do that. So either maybe you feel like, being alone is hard for you, or you feel like, you feel bad about wanting to be alone. One of those kinds of situations. But I do think it's important sometimes, and with that mountain and that sort of call to nature, sometimes going off on our own and being alone in the woods or, wherever, taking some time to yourself and really coming back into who you are and what you need for yourself and really coming into your own being, that can be really life-changing and incredibly liberating and peace gaining, right? It can be this like incredible peace situation by coming back into your own being and being on your own and remembering who you are on your own, right? Not allowing yourself to be defined by the eyes of other people, but really, allowing yourself to see fully who you are for yourself, and not allowing other people's definitions of you to define who you are, but really taking the time to be all that you are on your own. I feel a little bit of that energy. Let's look at some more cards here to get a better picture of what we're talking about. We have 3 more cards from the Wild Unknown. We've got the 3 of Pentacles, which has another mountain there. That's pretty neat. Definitely some mountains coming in here. We have the Star, and we have the 7 of Swords. Interesting. So the 7 of Swords can talk about tricky situations with others. So I really, really do feel like that's kind of one of these major messages here. And with this Star here, I'm almost feeling, you don't necessarily have to identify as like a star seed or whatever like that, but you can identify with the stars in that way. A lot of times this particular card in this deck reminds me of that. But with the Star there, I do feel the sense of you needing to go off on your own for a bit to figure yourself out a little bit. It's like you really are being called to go on this journey of figuring your own things out. And you don't have to tell everyone everything about what you're doing all the time. You don't have to tell everybody all of your hopes and dreams and your plans for your life, because sometimes people can derail us. Sometimes by telling other people the things we want to make happen in life, they will put their own input into it, and if we're not in the place to really protect ourselves from that, sometimes that can really discourage us from some things. And sometimes the 7 of Swords can talk about that, and I feel as if there's a lot of sort of planning, with that 3 of Pentacles here, that could talk about building foundations to build something into your life. So I do feel like there's a little bit of this sense of needing to go off on your own and do your own thing and build this thing into your life without necessarily telling anybody you're doing it, right? Because I feel like in order to really bring it about, it's like you don't want to get anybody else's ideas or inputs or energy kind of in the way of it, and maybe somebody else's baggage would get in the way of you actually being able to bring something into reality. And so there's a little bit of this energy of not telling everybody everything that you're doing, but keeping it for yourself and trying to build it on your own first, and then bringing it into the world that way. I feel a little bit of that going on here, and just the reminder that it's you don't have to listen to everyone else's opinion too with that 7 of Swords. Sometimes other people can have their own thoughts and ideas on things that aren't what you like. They're just because somebody else has the idea doesn't mean that that's the real reality, right? It's just their idea and their opinion, and there's some horns outside for confirmation on that. Somebody else's opinion, it's not objective truth, and neither is your opinion. You know what I mean? We all have our own ideas and opinions in life, and so you don't have to take somebody else's understanding of reality to be your understanding of reality, and you don't have to take somebody else's opinion and thoughts on what is and isn't possible in life. You don't have to act as if that's the truth. Like, that's just their idea. And so sometimes when we tell somebody else all of the things we're imagining for ourselves, they can get in the way of that because they're coming from their own point of view in their own place, and that's not necessarily where you are, and that's okay. It's just sometimes it's better to not hear that opinion in the first place, because then you don't have that getting in your way. So let's take a look here. We've got a bunch of cards now from the Smith-Waite deck. We'll start with 2. We've got the Knight of Pentacles, and we've got the King of Cups. Wow, yeah. So, with that Knight of Pentacles, I always kind of think of the Knights as being sort of whatever movement is happening in the reading, where the movement is. And with it being in the Pentacles, it means it's really building this physical world for yourself. And, the Pentacles are slow moving. So maybe you have some hopes and dreams for yourself. You have some ideas of things you'd like to build into your life. Like I was saying with that 3 of Pentacles. And, they might be really, really slow moving, right? Like, this might be long-term goals that you have, and, hopes for your future that are, maybe somewhat far away. And that's okay. It's okay to have dreams and ambitions and things that take time. It's okay to not need something to happen right away. And so that's another thing too of like why it's important not necessarily to share something that's so at the beginning stages of it. If you don't have enough momentum and work put into it yet to really bring somebody else's input into it. Somebody else's energy can really get in the way of it at this point. And so I do feel this sort of sense of really holding your cards close is important for whatever it is you're building. And with the King of Cups here as well, like that's kind of talking about, you might be a very generous sort of a person, a very open person, and it might be out of your wheelhouse to not share everything with everyone. But I do feel like there's a little bit of this energy of not revealing everything to everyone will be really important for you, because it's going to give you time to really build something and really kind of square where you really stand on it one way or another. And by doing that, by the time you actually make this thing happen, then you can start sharing it, because it'll be more concrete. But it just feels like whatever you're working on, it's not quite concrete enough yet to share and explain it with that many people. We have the Six of Cups here, and we have the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, so with the Page of Pentacles, I definitely feel, the pages talk about being at the beginning stages of something. So this, whatever it is that this is drawing to your mind here, this is the beginning of a project, and it's okay to be at the beginning, right? Sometimes it's really hard to admit to ourselves we're still starting out. This happens to me all the time, but it's the truth. Sometimes when you're at the beginning, you're at the beginning, and we can feel, sometimes it feels really crappy to be a beginner, right? Because it's like, well, I just want to have this thing done, and I want to really make something happen, and I don't want to be at the beginning. But at the same time, it's also important to remember, just because you're at the beginning at one thing, that doesn't mean that you're just starting out in every aspect of your life. I'm sure there are many things that you've become a master at, in life. And so just because you're at the beginning of some project or something that you're working on, that doesn't mean that you're incapable of making it happen or anything like that. And it doesn't mean that you don't have expertise in some area. I'm sure that you do. It's just that sometimes when you want to make something else happen, you got to start from the beginning, and we always have to start from the beginning in anything that we make happen in life. There are no shortcuts, and you don't want to take shortcuts, because when you do, it's building a house of cards, and it can really collapse very, very easily if you're not building strong foundations. And with that mountain, being the double message, especially reflected in the Three of Pentacles, it talks about building very, very strong foundations for yourself. And so, when you're at the beginning and you're building in these strong foundations, it feels at the very beginning, it feels like you have such a long journey ahead of you, and that can be daunting. But as you start to get onto that journey, it gets easier. It really does. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of pile number 3. Pile number 3 might be where you are later, like you're, I think, at the very beginning stages of something. But if you keep working at it, you will get to where you want to go. Pile number 3 is like in the middle, right? And so I do think that you have the ability to achieve whatever it is you want. Oh, sorry, I dropped my recorder, so hopefully the audio is in there. Anyway, like I was saying, pile number 4, you have the ability to bring whatever you want into this world, and it might take time, and it might take energy, and it might take effort, but you have the ability to make it happen. And with this Six of Cups here, that talks about happy childhood memories. So maybe there is some sort of happy memory from the past that could help you out in this situation, right? Like maybe you have dreams from when you were a kid that you dreamed of making something happen in life. Well, I'm here to tell you, you have the ability to do that still. So just because, maybe you've been through a lot in life and you feel like things aren't what they used to be, and you feel like maybe things are going to be hard to do, just because they take time and things are challenging and difficult doesn't mean you can't make it happen. So have faith in yourself, and really, whatever you put your mind to, whatever you want to work towards and build in life, you do have the ability to make something happen. So be open to it. Be open to the changing of the world, and be open to becoming who you want to be. Final card here for you is Stripping Illusions. from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. And, with this lotus flower, that's the main message is the message of the lotus is a really powerful symbol in spirituality because it's like, it's this idea that the lotus flower starts in the mud, right? It starts as this really kind of gross root deep at the bottom of a pond in this muck and mud. And, it grows from the muck and mud into this beautiful, incredible flower that blooms in out of the pond into the air. This really, really, really beautiful flower. And it comes in with this idea that you have the ability to transform into a beautiful lotus. And so it's like you might, like I said, you might be at the beginning of a situation. You might be at this place where you haven't made these things happen and you feel almost like maybe you can't do it. But with that lotus imagery there, it's saying like, you have the ability to blossom into this beautiful flower. So, you can bring any amazing, incredible project or self fulfillment thing that you're working on, just even just your own being, you have the ability to make that into anything. It might just take some work and some time and some effort and some, flowing with that. But if you're willing to put in that work, you can make anything happen. So anyway, pile number 4, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments either way what you think. I love hearing from everybody. Huge, huge thanks to all of the recent subscribers over the last few weeks. We gained a lot of new people, so thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help. Every subscription really goes a long way. And I hope you have a wonderful day, pal number 4. I will see you soon and catch you later. Bye.